Your worst nightmares, do they actually mean something? Are they killing you? I'm talking about actual nightmares that people have at night. Because Dr. Ben here read an interesting article about what nightmares mean for our health. Would you like to tell us, Ben?
So there is an interesting article in The Economist, if anyone reads that just came out that was... The headline really grabbed me. What they did is there's some research out now. There's an article out that shows that people that have weekly nightmares, at least once a week they're having nightmares or more, have an increased risk of dying by 3 times the risk of dying before the age of 70 if they're having more than weekly nightmares. Now, I don't know why. And in the article, it was unclear if they thought that an underlying condition like inflammation or something like that was increasing the amount of nightmares, or whether the nightmares were causing certain kinds of things to happen within the body that were increasing your risk of dying. Now, Peter, you know a little something about that?
Yeah, that's a fascinating article, actually. And so I think we can link it really to the ability of your body to repair itself. And so sleeping is so much more than people think. I mean, lack of sleeping, I should say, leads to lots of different disease states, leads to increased risk of heart disease. As you said, Ben, 3 times the risk of dying before 70. That almost surpasses the risk of smoking, obesity, all the other stuff that we've talked about in our previous podcasts. So think of your body as being in an inflammatory state. And if you don't get enough sleep, your body doesn't have enough time to shut down and repair inflammation. And so we do know that increased inflammatory states are linked to diabetes, heart disease, heart attacks, stroke. So I can see actually a clear connection for that. It's like the reset button for your body. Actually, studies have also shown that getting less than 6 hours of sleep a night also really puts you at risk for heart disease. And so, it's really about probably the spike in cortisol. All right. Cortisol tears through your body. So people who are in like heightened states of cortisol, it's that fight or flight response. It really just wreaks havoc on your body.
Yeah, cortisol obviously is the stress hormone. I'm sure stress contributes a lot to people having nightmares. Very interesting. I mean, I've read a lot about nightmares. Obviously, everybody has nightmares. I'll tell you about my recurring nightmare. Maybe not weekly in a moment. Maybe you guys can give me some therapy. But I do know that nightmares, from the research that I've read, that basically every nightmare or dream is supposed to contain something from the day before, and then some type of underlying concern that anybody may have. Have you seen that research?
I have. The other, part of sleep is forming memories. So the interesting thing about nightmares is you see so many parts of the brain that are interacting, trying to form memories. And that's why they say a lot of time you have these dreams where you're having things kind of connecting each other from your past, from recent experiences that don't necessarily seem to go together. It's in theory, because memories are trying to be formed, you're accessing part of these, aspects of your brain and of your memory from the past.
Yes, sleep. I mean, it's so important. We'll obviously have to make another podcast about this because we're focusing on nightmares. But I've heard a lot from people over the years about difficulty sleeping, and I don't like the way the medical profession is prescribing these strong medications, which I think probably increase the risk of nightmares, some of these prescriptions. But I'm all for natural ways to improve sleep. Do you want to speak a little bit more, Peter, while we're on the subject? Because so many people tell me that they take natural supplements like melatonin or magnesium, and they really help with sleep, and they don't have that hangover effect on dreams and nightmares.
Absolutely. We know that magnesium, for instance, has a calming effect, especially formulations of magnesium like magnesium glycinate helps relax
right.
the muscles. And people do have a calming effect, not to mention that I love it for underlying heart disease and about 300 other processes throughout your body. That would be another podcast. So magnesium is a great formulation or supplement to take. Melatonin, I take it regularly. I think that melatonin at the lower doses, which is usually, for me about 3 to 5 milligrams, has a really good effect in really calming the brain down. Other things that can help with melatonin are other natural supplements is L-theanine, which goes really well with melatonin. It kind of turns off your brain a little bit, allows you to really get into that state of sleep. You want to take about an hour before you go to sleep, and it really helps you fall asleep faster. But the beauty of it too is if you wake up in the middle of the night, sometimes it actually makes you fall back asleep. So when you're waking up from that nightmare, right, it'll help you go back to sleep.
Yeah, I've heard similar things. And obviously, I mean, if we're talking about anything natural, certain things work for some people, certain things don't. I mean, I will confess I've taken magnesium glycinate and melatonin, and they both work very well for me in terms of getting a good night's sleep, and I don't think I've had nightmares. But I've heard a lot of people who are on these powerful prescriptions have very rough sleeps and sort of wake up in a panic state, because it's all about, as we mentioned, that cortisol, and you want your cortisol level to be low and not have these recurrent thoughts that could be going through your head. Ben, coming back to the topic of nightmares, do you think that there could be anything else going on with people's underlying psychology that could be causing them to have, and I'm sure you all have stories. In fact, if you have any recurrent nightmares, comment down below, or have you read anything about what nightmares mean?
Well, so we know, I mean, all of us know, if you're having a very stressful event in your life, that tends to produce nightmares. I mean, who hasn't had nightmares about some event in school when they were younger, or work issues, or something that's really getting, you very upset can certainly cause nightmares. But what was interesting about this article is they were talking about medical conditions, like inflammatory conditions or other kind of chronic health issues that were actually possibly causing people to have nightmares regularly. Was one theorized thing behind this. So that was actually really interesting.
That's true, Ben. And is it the fact that when people are ill and they're prescribed so many medications, that the side effect of medications is nightmares in some people? We do know that there are some medications that can be out there. I've heard, anecdotally from patients, beta blockers are a classic medication used in cardiology, can sometimes give people nightmares. So is the fact that all the medications that they're giving are giving them more increased nightmares, disrupting that sleep pattern?
Yeah, that's
something
a
to think
really
about.
Good point. Yeah, anything mind altering. I mean, I've got my own thoughts on psychiatric medications. All right. Well, let me tell you, I'm going to be completely honest. I actually posted on Twitter about this not so long ago. Maybe you gentlemen can give me some therapy.
Sure.
I don't think I need therapy, but you could give me some. But there's a recurrent nightmare that I have, definitely not weekly, but I have it enough for it to be noticed maybe every couple of months or so. I think it's got a meaning. I've told people close to me in my life about this nightmare, but I have this recurrent nightmare that I am at school. It could be at high school or university, and I am going in for an exam, and I haven't studied for the exam. And that nightmare I've had so many times, and I've woken up. And the funny thing is, that's never actually happened to me in my life. So it's not from an experience, but I have had that enough times for it to be noticed, where I'm told that there's an exam or something, a test, and I'm not prepared. And then I wake up in a cold sweat. Well, what could that mean? And maybe there's some experts out there who can tell me what that means.
And comment below if anyone wants to analyze Suneel's dream. It'd be really interesting for us to see.
Every few months I have this nightmare and I wake up really not in a good state. What could that mean?
Oof. I think it means you're not making enough podcasts. I think that's possibly.
I'm sure that's what it means. Maybe I need to make more. Do you think, one thing I thought is maybe at a subconscious level, I have a fear of being unprepared for something.
Yeah.
Is that what it could mean? And it manifests in a nightmare.
I think it's a fear of failure.
Yeah.
But that's not uncommon. I actually have had nightmares like that too, where I'm about to take a test or I'm supposed to turn in homework and all of a sudden I didn't do any of it and didn't even realize I was supposed to. So I have had things like that. So I think it's a fear of failure, probably.
Probably. There must be me. I'm sure there's someone out there who's watching who can tell me what that means. But
let us know.
Have it enough. Well,
and then we can heal him.
You can. Well, there could be worse nightmares. I've had worse nightmares. I'm sure you have too. Violent kind of nightmares. I mean, this is like going to school and thinking, oh, I'm not prepared for this exam. And then I wake up. What happened? I didn't know there was an exam coming out. Why am I not prepared for it? Thank you for watching. And once more, feel free to comment down below. We really enjoy hearing from you. These talks are about interesting topics, and what we really want is the best possible health for you. We want you to be aware of everything. We want you to be empowered. We want you to know what questions to ask. We want you to understand your bodies. Thank you again. Do check in the links down below for our separate, unique channel where we post a lot of exclusive content. Also, our natural health and well-being store. Speaking of which, we have a natural sleep support, which does include melatonin, L-theanine, and we also have magnesium as well. Please check out in the links down below. ohiwellness.com if you're in the USA, North America, ohiwellness.co if you're in the UK, Europe. Take care, everyone. Stay well, happy dreams, and we will speak again in the next episode.